Toho fan game. The physics are a little bit like New Super Mario. Oops, I messed that up because I wasn't paying attention because I was too busy trying to tell a story. So the physics in this are kind of like New Super Mario Bros. There's inertia to it. It's not like the original Super Mario Bros. Where you had to commit to every jump because you couldn't really turn around. There's a definite ability to do that, but it's nowhere near as happy to let you do that as Super Mario World is. But there's a lot of quirks to the way that you control in this game in terms of moving fast and, you know, the usual stuff you'd kind of expect. So I've mentioned it sort of takes the inertia physics from New Super Mario Bros, but the actual like running speed stuff is more like Super Mario Bros 3 or Super Mario World. That is to say, I guess it's kind of like Super Mario World where there's an invisible P-Wing meter thing. If you've played that, most people will have played that obviously, but there's basically a thing that lets you build up for running speed. You start, obviously you've got basic walking speed, you've got the run, which is that sort of speed, and then if you run for long enough on the ground you get the faster running speed, which is where lots of momentum fun shenanigans come in. And there's a fair few like differences between the way it works in this game and the way it works in Mario stuff. So if you've ever played like Mario 3 and you know how the meter builds up. You run along the ground, it builds up. If you jump or if you like stop, then it stops building up. The same in Super Mario World basically, but you don't get to see the meter in that game. In this game, so long as you are continually like running and moving forwards, if you jump into the air, it just like freezes the meter. So if you were halfway towards doing a P-Wing run, then you would still be halfway towards doing a P-Wing run when you landed, and it would build up further, so you can do, you know, some cool stuff with that. It completely resets if you turn around, or if you like stop moving. So unlike Super Mario Bros 3 and stuff, you can't do something like this to build up your meter. That said, most of this game is forward motion anyway, so you don't tend to have to do that. This is this is pretty much the reason why my in-game name is Marisa, because of the character we're playing as here, because she is my favorite Toho character, so there you go. So to try and explain what happened there, I'm gonna need to sort of go into the game's laws when you get stuck in places. So if you get stuck inside a ceiling, then, well, if your head is stuck in the ceiling, the game's first response is to push you to the left. If you can't get out of the ceiling by being pushed to the left and you end up having your whole body stuck, something like that happens, where it zips you downwards really quickly and to the left. So what we do there, we deliberately take the hit, we get ourselves stuck in the ceiling by using a power-up on the ceiling, and we basically get zipped down to the open spot that's down the bottom, so it skips a decent bit of level. Now this level is going to demonstrate the P-Wing like conservation thing I was talking about before, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to deliberately get the meter there. So I started running at full speed even though I wasn't actually on the ground for quite a bit beforehand. So yeah, the same thing's going to happen here, so that I can get over those. Thank you, Yoshi. Oh, Jesus! Damn it. Whatever. So I jumped too late. I would have had that much better, but never mind. How old is this game? I think it came out in 2006. It's 2006 or 2007, something around about there. So I'm gonna have to waste some time getting the power up at the start of the stage now, because I fucked up, but it's fine. I didn't want to hover there. So hovering with the bunny suit puts you back down to walking speed, which is obviously really slow, so I should probably just reset, but I just want to get a run going. And, you know, Is it from 10? I thought it was from earlier than that. Huh, okay. Never mind. Clearly, time has just passed way too quickly for me. I thought this game was way older than that, but apparently not. Oh, I guess that makes sense, because Nue's in the game, right? And Nue's from Touhou 12, so... I didn't think about that. So you can do, again, some cool momentum tricks like that as well. If you hit a wall, then your momentum is completely, or your inertia, I should say, is completely halted. So normally you would have to slow down in the air so that you could turn around again. But if you hit a wall, then all of that turning around time is stopped. So that's another pretty cool thing that you can do with this. Yeah, see, I thought it was earlier, but clearly I forget when my Touhous came out, because I only got into the series, like, I would want to say after UFO came out. Yeah, because 10 Desires was my first new Touhou game, so this place is like the World 4 Castle from the original Super Mario Bros. You have to go a particular way round if you want to not have to redo the section, so yeah. So this split's gonna be terrible, by the way, just so you know, but it's fine. This boss is one of the few moments of RNG in this game. Most of this game is not RNG based, which is fantastic. It's like one of the best things you can have in a speedrun is for it to not depend entirely on RNG. However, this boss is one of the 4 exceptions. It's one of the 2 that actually matters, because this one can be really bad. That was a very good RNG set there. But because of wasting so much time in the first couple of levels, it's a terrible split, but it's fine. Yeah. I lost like 8 seconds probably in the first couple of levels, so that's completely fine. So the yin yang orbs I have here, if you've ever played Super Mario Land, then you'll recognize the power as the Super Ball from there. So I can only have 1 orb on the screen at any one time. It goes at right angles and it collects stars on its way. Stars are kind of basically coins in this game, so yeah. The red stars are completionist stuff, but this is effectively any % all bosses, so you know, we're not bothering with that. Here is the only RNG stage that we have to do in the run, and no matter how often you play this stage can still mess you up, because it can do stuff like that to you, where it almost gets you killed instantly, and you know, you have to be ridiculously quick on the trigger finger to not actually get hit. Do remember, I can only have 1 orb on the field at any one time, or on the screen, so if I missed that shot, then I would have been hit 100%, which kind of sucks. Now, another nice thing of this game, there's actually a fair few platformers that do this, but anything that's on a timer is on that timer from the very start of the screen. So there are moving walls which we're gonna have to try and skip around now. And if you go really quickly in this area, then you can actually get past these without having to stop. Now, if I didn't go as quick as I did there, I would have to wait for the thing to go down and then back up again, and it's around about 11.5 to 12 seconds lost. it's a pretty big deal. So getting the early cycle here is very nice. You can actually do it without losing a hit too, but you have to be extremely quick for that, and I got stuck, so I had to not do that, unfortunately. So basically, this is the secret exit route because that has the fewest amount of levels involved in it. We don't always take the path that has the shortest route because one or two of the paths, it's just one actually, but there's a path in World 4 which is actually only one level as opposed to 2 to do, but that one level is a really slow auto scroll, so it's actually fast, and you've got to take a slower route to actually get to that level, so it's actually faster to go the other way, and it's safer because you get a house as well, so like a shop, so you could buy a power up if you get screwed over. Also, Azure, I read your thing on Skype. I never had Mega Man, so I never actually played X, so I wouldn't be able to do that with you. Yoshi's Island I could technically do, but yeah. So now we get the frog suit from Mario 3. Basically, this is Pionta. This is the Suwako hat, and it makes you move very, very fast in the water. But if anyone has played Mario 3 fairly recently, you will know that the frog suit is terrible on land, so you don't really want to have that on land. Although we are going to use it in a couple of land areas, but you'll see why when we get there. So, to all intents and purposes, I should hate this level, but I kind of don't because it gives me a break between this and the next level. So, you know, because the next level's one of the hardest to do speedrun-wise. There's a lot of tricky jumps in the next stage, so that was a little bit slow doing that. Oh well. Alright, so this next stage is basically damage rush the stage. There's a lot of patchy bots here which you can't destroy, but we're just going to kind of skip over as many of them as we can. That jump is a lot harder than it looks. We're going to skip the spikes here, and hopefully we can skip this last one coming up as well. If I get the timing just right. Yep. Slip on past that last one too. That was really nice. There's a spare power here because I do want this power up to do the boss with. So oh, damn it. I haven't done that in a long time. I'm actually not sure how I'm... Oh, I know how I'm going to get around that. I'm just going to have to waste a lot of time at the start of the next stage. So, not looking too hot that way. There's a power-up at the very start of the next stage that I can use, so I should be okay. Because I do need tea, but because I still have the Suwako hat, so long as I don't fall in the river, I'll be fine. So this stage, this is the Sanzu River, which is the river that goes between like life and death. It's the one that that spirits get ferried over when they go to get judged by the Yama. And basically, if you don't have the Suwako suit and you fall in that river, you are dead because you just sink. But with the Suwako suit, you do have enough swimming strength to go against that. So yeah. This stage is really tricky because you've got to do a lot of weird jumps with this. That wasn't quite optimal, but it'll more than do. Yeah, that wasn't the greatest, but it was way better than what it could have been. So, ice physics are funky as all hell in this game. But basically, the reason Sawako's not very good on land is because as soon as she lands, she stops dead. However, if you're on the ice, then she will continue to slide forwards, which means you can kind of mitigate that that issue, and you can just keep on like effectively running through the stage. We'll see here that she just stops when she hits the non-ice block. That is the last we're going to see of Sawako, but do not fear, because we will probably have a reset at some point, and I'll probably have to do more Sawako. But yeah. Hey, mate, how are you doing? What's nice about this one is that every power-up gets at least one stage. This power-up over here is only going to get this one stage, the Mega Mushroom. Yeah, no shocks for guessing where this is from. But, it gets a stage, which is fine. The reason I didn't pick it up in 4-2 is because Mega Marisa can't swim. Probably something about her chest being full of lead or something. But yeah, she can't swim, so clearly she's not good for an underwater stage. Nice. There's another mushroom in that box there, but we can go fast enough that we don't have to worry about it. I say we a lot with this, but it's basically because I'm not the sole runner of this game that I can kind of say that. So another thing about ice that's really weird is that it greatly increases your inertia, but it doesn't increase the time that it takes to get to P-wings, or P-meter speed. So what that means is that even though it doesn't look like I'm running there, if I jump into the air, then I can get running speed. I do the opposite to get that power up there, because if I just jumped, or just ran and then jumped for that power up, I would basically jump past it and have to stop on the ice, which is not an easy thing to do, and it just slows you down. So yeah, boobs probably do float unless they're made of lead, which is why I think that's probably what Mega Marisas are made of. Anyway, not really the point here. I need to get a carrot from this stage, from the very start of it, and yeah. This has the best music, best like rendition of this game's like song, in my opinion, but it also is a fairly tricksy little platforming ride. That'll do. That wasn't perfect, but it'll do. I'm 2 seconds short of what I wanted from that, but it's fine. Meow indeed. Hey Ray. So a lot of this game is what I would call pseudo auto-scroll. Like there's a couple of stages in this game where you're, well, there's about 3, where you're supposed to be on some sort of like rail or boat or something like that, which you just skip. This is one of them, and we're going to skip it by just kind of hovering over here, and then since I've been quick enough I can skip past that guy and go straight to the boss. There we go. You stay in your corner. So other than having to get the T back in 4-1, that was actually a pretty good world. And look at that, I still saved time even though I had to do that. Alright, now we get into World 5. World 5 is where they introduce the Yukari mushroom, which I really don't like, but think of it as a harder to control blue shell from New Super Mario Bros. It's a pain, but this is also the world that I can save the most time on because it's a very tricky world to do. It's a very tricky world to do, this one, because there's just a lot of niggly little things, and then there's the Yukari shroom is hard to control, and but the second half is evil, and yeah. So I kept the carrot in reserve because if you've noticed, the Yukari mushroom took my T. it eats your active power, but it doesn't do anything to the one that's in reserve. So because I need this carrot for a later level in this world, I'm gonna grab the T here so that I can basically damage boost this. Just hit that. There's a T in one of those boxes, but it's more awkward to get quickly, so I don't bother. And then we did that. And there we go. So now that carrot is in reserve, and I'm able to use it at a later time, which is going to be 5-6. So this stage, it's all about knowing what you can and can't run under, what you have to jump over, you know. I need this power up for 5-5, so I'm going to grab it because it's in the way. There's another power in the next stage, but it's not a direct thing, so... Basically, the one in the next stage I have to go out of my way for. That one is in the path of the run, so I may as well just grab it because I need it 2 stages from now. So now we have the ghost house of the game, door maze sort of thing. Getting 100% completion on this level is kind of annoying, but just running through it is not too hard. Power up is on the left there, but since I already have one, I don't need to get it. Oh, supposed to duck jump there, but apparently my duck button didn't work, so whatever. Oops. So switch is for there, and stage done. There we go. So, second half of this world. It's a bit of a dizzy. So this is intentional so that I can run past this as quick as I can. Jump this one because of the ferry. And then I don't want to take the extra hit here because 5-6 is one where I kind of need that hit, so I'm just taking my time here. I'm still not entirely convinced that's the optimal way of doing this, this pair of levels, but I haven't found a better way, and I have been kind of testing this for a long time, so I'm settling on this right now. Because basically keeping this carrot in reserve means I can do a skip in this stage, which saves about 7 seconds. Because there's a raft that you are supposed to ride here, but if you have the bunny, then you can kind of just like do this. Damn, that was scary. Whew. Okay, so minor time loss there. Doesn't matter too much. Whew. Okay. But the technical stuff doesn't end yet because the boss stage is kind of awkward as well. So, yeah. So this is a vertical lava shaft. That hits on purpose because it's really hard to get up here fast when you're big. So there we go. Right. So this boss is kind of like Hookbill Cooper from, in a way, from Yoshi's Island. The fact if you've got to get her to spit out the weapon that you need. And there you go. So by delaying my fire in the previous part of that, I managed to get her to shoot out an orb that or a fireball that I could eat after the after the hit ran out, so I could do that a little bit quicker. Otherwise, I'd have had to jump on her again and get another fireball and, you know, that stuff. So, we get to World 6, the shortest world of the game, I believe. Also one of the cooler ones because it introduces Tenchi, and Tenchi has mobile platform creation because Tenchi is kind of awesome like that. I should note that we're always playing as Marisa. We're just like stealing over powers and like stuff. You can also do airwalks. Okay, so that was a pretty poor stage, but it's fine. Hey Marisa, how are you doing? Alright, 6-2, one of the last major skips of this. This is by far the scariest stage. Nice. Get up. And there we go, the power of mobile platforms. You're supposed to ride all of those platforms along. There are 7 worlds and then a like boss thing, so technically 8, but there's like 7 like major worlds and then there's the one boss thing at the end. Yeah, that is one of the scariest stages, but it also shows the sheer power of the mobile platforms. So now we have wind physics. They're not too bad, really. Whew. 2 more stages in this world, one of which is the boss one. So the next one is annoying to start because it's the camera scrolls kind of badly here. That jump is a lot harder to make than it looks because by the time you can see it, it's already too late to do the jump to keep running speed. So you have to jump a little bit in advance, and it's really awkward and I don't like it. I jumped off the dude, whatever. 4 for 4 on airwalks though, that's always something. Okay, so boss stage, vertical wind shaft tunnel thing, it's there. It's kind of cool. So that saves like a second rather than running around that. And then we're gonna skip the big wind tunnel thing at the end of this as well. Oh, get up, up. Yeah, we're gonna skip the tunnel thing at the end of that too. You're supposed to go round a loop thing, but we don't have to. So, Sunai time! Sunai is very slightly RNG based, because the dolls that you see here can kind of get blown around in random directions from the twisters. But she's not overly RNG based, and usually it doesn't make too much of a difference, so... Oh, damn it, I jumped too early. I was trying to grab the thing off screen and I jumped too early. We're gonna lose a little bit of time here. Because of the 6-1. Okay. So this stage I'm traditionally pretty bad at. Never quite understood why, but I just can't do this stage very well. But it's fine, because we got it. Right, okay, I'm gonna try for what is something like a 1 to 3 frame trick here to skip the rest of this world. It's not in my PB, and if I get it, it's awesome, but... Nope, too late. So we have to do the rest of this world normally, which is fine, because there's a separate category for doing it with the warp, so it's cool. Alright, so this level I'm going to deliberately take the hit here. There's a few reasons for that, one of which is that I don't really need that power-up anymore. The other reason is that it's like 3 seconds faster, pretty much, so that's fine. Alright, so last major skip stuff of the game, we're going to try and not grab any of the UFOs here, because the UFOs are kind of very slow, so there we go. And jump. And now I want to grab this one because we need the secret exit from this stage, so I'm needing to go up here. UFO is kind of like the Ukari Shroom in the sense of it eats your current power-up. That's going to be important later, but it's also kind of necessary to do the secret exits of the two stages that we have to, the two main stages we have to do in this world. So as soon as we cross this gap, we cross the threshold for getting to the secret exit. So that's fine. Secret exits are always denoted with the blue balloons, the red balloons are regular exits. So there we go. And then the last thing we gotta do here is get the secret exit from this stage, which will require a carrot, which we shall get by getting 2 items here. Because we hover up here and grab this. Because what we need to do here is we need to fly over the goal. And the only way we're going to fly over the goal, because of how gigantic its invisible like wall above it is to basically go over it with a UFO. So you see the flag is down there, and we have just done stage. So that's pretty good. Now, there are only 4 stages left, if you count the final boss stage as one, but they are all auto-scrolls, so we're in for like 6 minutes of stuff, basically. However, I don't really mind these auto-scrollers, because they're not exactly boring to me. This one reminds me very heavily of 5-9 from Super Mario Bros. 3, minus the fire chomp, but the platforming is very reminiscent of that stage. Which I think is kind of cool, but you know. That's because I'm kind of an old Mario nerd, I suppose. My first game ever was Mario All-Stars on the SNES, so, you know. There's a carrot in this box. I only need a mushroom, so I'm good to go on power-ups. I should maybe... Yeah, it's that sort of safety versus time save thing. Like, it saves a little bit of time to not grab it, so... Ooh, unless you mess up, but you don't mess up, because you're doing fine. Tells people what I'm doing and why. What kind of speedrun is this? I know, right? There we go. Fun fact, it saves 1/10 of a second to grab the balloon at the end of an auto-scroller than it does to grab the tape, because the balloon is very, very slightly wider than the tape, so yeah. Right, I need to take a T in reserve to end this stage. So I need to grab both of the power-ups in this stage, coming into it with a spare power. I also can't get hit until I get the second one. Other than that, we're good to go. So the second power is actually really close to here, so it's fine. These black fuzzies are basically bombs, because this is a very obvious homage to the airship style levels in Super Mario 3. Complete with awesome music. Or awesome rendition of the song. This game only really has one song, but it's remixed, like, pretty diversely. I like it. Alright, so the reason that the T is important is because the boss of this stage is Nue, and Nue is the UFO girl, so we're gonna have to fight her with a UFO. And as you probably remember from earlier, or hopefully remember from earlier, because it's like 3 minutes ago, UFOs eat your current power-up. So, in order to take the T through to the next stage, I have to have the T in reserve, like, after this stage. And the T is essential for doing the final boss. So, yeah. To do the final boss quickly, it's essential. So, yep. Right. This is the only other place that RNG can potentially mess me up, and it can only mess me up if I get really unlucky with it, and that's a perfect place for that UFO, so no RNG screwing up here. Basically, Nue takes like 15 shots, I think it is, but the UFO that you're in doesn't automatically explode at the end of the fight. So that I've timed that fight, or I've timed the sort of positioning of it so that the UFO blows up at basically the same time she does, otherwise it costs you about 6 seconds, and it's really annoying. That time save. Right, so, final world, one last auto-scroller. This can make or break the run because this is actually a dangerous auto-scroller in 2 places. Yes, we shall investigate those 2 places now. So, the first place that this is dangerous is coming up right here, because of a certain springboard. Oh, wow, that was too close. Okay, so springboards in this game work off of your horizontal momentum as well as your vertical, like how high you bounce off them. So not only do you have to time the jump button in place, but you have to have some horizontal speed as well for that to work, which is why it almost killed me there. You have to be running to do that, or have to have some sort of running speed for it. Whew. Okay, that was way too close. I almost got crushed, but it's fine. Didn't mean to shoot star there, but okay, whatever. Alright, final stage. Don't blink because you might miss this. So this boss is sort of a reference to Sonic 3 and Knuckles' like final boss, but not really. And we're done. The timer stops when the screen fades to black because that's when I lose control of Marisa. Technically I could still die if I fell off here, so yeah. Booyah! New record! New record! Booyah! Alright, so, to explain that fight as the credits are going on here. The premise behind that fight is that you're supposed to use the green fuzzy spores that the mushroom is like spawning out. They're basically green Koopas, or green shells, and you're supposed to use those to go into the to basically knock them into the fairies. And each fairy, after every third hit, you will knock out a fairy from the thing, and the pattern will change a little bit. Like the mushrooms will start moving up, and then afterwards the giant mushroom does a big leap forward and stuff like that. But basically, what happens with it is that a yin yang orb is the equivalent of a fuzzy shell in that fight. So one fuzzy shell, or 3 yin yang orbs, also knocks out a fairy. Which pretty much means if you can take a yin yang, if you can take the T for the yin yang orb all the way there, then you kind of get to smash it in the face in like 2 seconds, which is what happened there. 1 game second is about 0.4 to 0.5 of a second, so just call it half a second, basically. So yeah, the start of this run was pretty bad, but everything else was solid. 6-1 was kind of sketchy. 32-38 game time, that is really good. That is really good.